Welcome, everyone, to the Jeff Gross podcast. This is the Flow Show. We are officially live for the first time ever. I am extremely honored and excited because we have Mr. BenCB789, the creator, founder, CEO, head coach, whatever you want to call him, the man, the content creator, the legend. We have Ben on the show. It's his first ever podcast as well, so we're both breaking each other's cherry. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna answer questions. We're gonna do it all. So Ben, thanks for being here.
It's an honor that I'm your first guest. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to join you here for the podcast.
Awesome. Well, listen, let's dive into it. I got a bunch of questions. I know we have on Instagram, I did a ask questions for you as well. So we'll try to grab some of those. There's going to be people live in the chat that are going to be following along as well. So we might try to get a few of those questions too. Let's remember, this is a brand new channel. So this is the first ever thing ever. And we'll just do our own podcast thing, and hopefully some people join in and have some fun with us. But without further ado, Ben, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of a background. You and I have done training videos, reviews. People know you in the poker community, but tell us a little bit about Ben as a person. Tell us how you got started. What was it like, as growing up? How did you get into poker, and sort of how did your journey all begin?
Sure. So I'm 29 currently. I'm living in Vienna. I started playing poker around 2009. Of course, not as professional as I'm doing it today or used to do. Used to do means that I'm not playing the volume anymore that I used to do. Today I focus more on the content creation, on Raise Your Edge, on the business, learning, growing, and yeah. So I got into poker around 2009 with friends in school, playing for cents and play money, and I got hooked pretty quick. And then very soon I started grinding $1 sit and goes, and then at some point I realized, okay, I should also put in more effort, and was following the advice of my friends who were at this time already playing poker professionally and making a living out of it, that I should also study the game more in depth and learn strategies. And at this point, I ascended the stakes, $2 sit and goes, $5 sit and goes. Eventually, one day, playing the highest sit and go stakes, $5,000 sit and goes on a daily basis, and then transitioning, I think 2 or 3 years ago, transitioned more and more into tournament poker. And yeah, that is basically my journey in a few words.
That's awesome. And what about, so you brothers, sisters, family? How do they feel, like, supportive wise with poker? Was it a shock culturally, kind of? I don't know how it is. I know for a lot of my friends and myself, a lot of times, it's kind of when you tell your parents or so, hey, I'm playing poker professionally. It's not your typical thing. How was that? Was that a battle, a struggle? Was it a smooth transition? How did that kind of go down?
Um, it's it was definitely not that they were trying to deny it. It was more like, okay, if you want to do it, then do it. But it was not huge support, which I can understand. If you imagine that your little boy comes to you and tells you he wants to make money by playing poker, of course they're not going to be super excited about it.
Uh,
However, at some point they realized I take it very serious, and they were also supporting me. And I think one advantage I had was that before I got into poker, that I was also playing esports. So they already used that I do weird things on the computer, right? So I was playing Counter Strike, which this point in time I was not following 100%. It was on a rather professional level, but I was not taking it so serious. So then with 17, 8, no, 18, 19, 20, I stopped, went to college, and then during college time, and then um, got into poker, and that's where it started getting more serious. So they then realized, okay, he's already doing weird things on the computer, right, playing games. And then I think at the beginning they thought that I'm just playing a video game, and I was not really telling them that I play for money. I was just, the money you get from your parents, and I was uh, playing with that because um, I got $50 from Poker Strategy and was using that money. I think I went broke 2 or 3 times at the beginning, and then I had to deposit another $50, and then I was playing with that money. And then once I took it more serious, studying the game, I then ascended in the stakes pretty fast. Um, yeah, $2, $5. Then was stuck on mid stakes for quite some time.
That sounds very familiar with the parents not knowing. I remember being 15, 16, playing online, and the same thing. Like I think my parents didn't really think it was real money, but I mean it was small, but it was still like they were just like not, yeah, it looks like a computer game or playing play money poker. So I can relate to that. And then so basically so one thing people ask me all the time with you, and people that know that I use your course religiously, and they say, "Hey, man, is Ben a real person? Who is this guy? I don't see pictures of him. He keeps a low profile." I can vouch. We met in person. We shared a room in Barcelona during EPT last year, Barcelona, which was really cool to get to know you on a personal level and put a face with a name. But can you touch on that a little bit, like how you kind of have this mysterious, not really a lot of pictures of you out there, and low profile. Do you want to kind of elaborate or maybe let people know what the reasoning or why that might be?
Um, it's very simple. It's that I think, and I think it applies for most of the people. You should try to figure out what works best for you. And I figured out for myself that the less distractions I have, the better I am, the more focused I can work. And I don't really see the value or the benefit if I would go for a high profile. I just, nobody knows who I am. I can just focus on my work. I can focus on my stuff, and that just makes a lot of fun. And right now, I just don't see really the value, the benefit. It might change. I never say never, but yeah, that's one of the main reasons. The second reason is also that I used to live in Germany, and I think I left around 2013. Back then, I was studying mainly, so I actually, and as you might know, the tax situation in Germany for poker players is extremely absurd. It's very random. There's no regulation. That's why all the German poker players are leaving Germany, which is actually a shame because I think Germany is a beautiful country. However, they all leave, which makes a lot of sense because when you don't know where you're at, you can. It's a very scary situation for a young poker player. So back then, I went to a tax advisor. He told me for my specific situation, everything is fine. However, I already planned back then to start a business with Raise Your Edge. And in a country where online gambling is not regulated, I wouldn't feel comfortable to incorporate a company in such a country. So I decided I'm going to leave Germany, and then I ended up living in England, and then afterwards in Sweden, and now I'm in Vienna. And so, in order to not get in any trouble, which is very unlikely, but I just don't want to take the risk, I rather stay low profile. But the first reason is the main reason, and it's definitely benefit that I stay low profile, and then I'm not get any. It's not necessarily the trouble; it's just the stress. I had a couple of friends that got involved with the tax authorities, and the way they treat you, it's it's extremely painful, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I know a couple, I believe, of who you're referencing to, and I know that it is a bit complicated. So, all right, that makes sense. I just know that's people ask all the time. They love your work and the content and the Raise Your Edge stuff. So they just, they want to see that face behind the name. But of course, it makes a lot of sense. And like you said, who knows? Things change. Live
Yeah.
events. I don't know. You'll play some in the future. I know we mentioned. You were talking about one coming up potentially, so who knows? You bank something huge live. It's you don't really have a choice, whatever. So it's interesting. That's good to know. And someone in the chat asked how old you're. 29. That's correct. And I think take one question quickly. Someone Nabil asked, what about your kids' future? I mean, that's a whole nother ball of wax, but if you have kids, let's say down the line, would you have any problem with them playing poker? Because I know some people, it's very interesting to hear poker players say I've heard everything. So what is that? What would be your feeling on that? I guess maybe it's a long ways away, but would you have any kind of thoughts on if you had kids, if you would want them to play poker or not? Or
I think anything around poker, video games, esports would be for me totally normal, and I would support that. But I think what scares me a little more is that I think in the future they will stuff be released that we have no imagination of. Speaking about virtual reality, I think there will be jobs and professions we have absolutely no idea about, and this then might feel strange for us that your child might want to pursue this kind of career, and then you're like, this is something I have no idea of. This, because for parents, it's always this lack of clarity. They don't really know what it is. It's not really tangible, and so they rather try to keep their child away from it in order to protect it, right? That's a very natural instinct, I believe. And for that reason, everything that is unknown to us, we want to keep away from our closest relatives. In that case, our child, so our children. So yeah, I think a poker, no, for sure not. But yeah, we will see what is coming in the future.
Yeah, that's true. That's a whole nother. That could be a future podcast talking about simulations and the future, because it is crazy how fast technology and things are moving around. Obviously, with the game, you're programmed. There's a lot of information on poker out there, so the game changes pretty quickly, and artificial intelligence, this and that, different solver work. So who knows what'll happen in the future? But I think that's an interesting question to hear your take on it. What about, let's go to, give us a favorite food. What kind of food? I know I've seen on your Instagram stories for Raise Your Edge, you eat healthy, kind of, try to keep really lean, good, healthy foods. Like, what is your favorite type of food though? Like if you're traveling or, you're out to dinner, what do you like to eat?
I really like sushi, but I would say I really don't have one specific food that is my favorite food. A couple of years ago, my mindset has changed completely from always trying to eat something tasty and delicious to my body just needs fuel. And I try to give my body the stuff that he needs in order to perform on a very high level. Not only that, on a high level in terms of focus, in terms of concentration, but also that I just feel good. And for example, right now, if I'm going to be at Christmas, I'm going to be with my parents, I will also eat stuff that I usually don't eat. But on my daily routines, when I'm working, when I'm grinding, I don't try to eat meat. I try to eat salads. I try to eat a lot of fruits and just a low carb and no sugar. But then on the weekend, when I meet friends, I can go out and have a burger and drink a beer. That's totally fine. And now then, if it happens a couple of days in a row, I realize, okay, my body starts adjusting and I don't feel so well. I then tend to go very extreme, and then I go on fasting in order to clean my body really, really quick. This year I've done fasting 3 times for at least 7 days. I think the longest was 8 days, not eating anything, and afterwards I just feel epic. It feels amazing. Your body is cleaned, and it feels ready to attack new things, and that's just I've always been this kind of extreme type of person that if I have a cheat day, I can go very extreme, but if I want to go back into my high performance level, I can execute very extreme methods as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And how about before, because I want to dive, there's so many questions. I know I'm already like ready to dive into the matrix with you on some poker and talking about your course and all this, because it's fascinating to me how it's developed. But let's get some fun stuff out of the way as well. What about travel? Like where's a place you enjoy when you're going to get away, decompress? Like where's some places in the world that you've gone that you really love or that you like to go when you're just ready to kind of just disconnect from everything? What's your favorite spot or spots?
In terms of traveling, it definitely was Canada, 2014, when we had the school boot camp with Federholz and Steffen Sontheimer and Julian Thomas and the entire German poker player crew. We had our own island, which was super epic, a huge villa, beautiful nature. It was not winter anymore, but it was still snowy, white. The lake was frozen. It really looked like a fairy tale, and it was truly epic and definitely the most beautiful place I've ever been to in terms of traveling. Last year, my girlfriend and I, we went to Sicily, on an incredible beach, which was also really amazing. The food is amazing. For me, it's mostly important that people are nice, the food is good, the weather is good, and then I think, and you experience some nice adventures, and then I think you're gonna have a very nice time. So yeah, this Costa Rica was also really nice when we had the boot camp in 2016. It was an incredible place, and yeah, just but then usually I have a purpose. I wish I would have more time for that. That I just go maybe for myself or with a friend or my girlfriend for 1 or 2 weeks, just just to hang out. We did it last year for 10 days in Sicily, but apart from that, I haven't had that many vacations where I went just to relax. You know, usually it had a purpose. Was it for business? Was it for playing poker or boot camp? Um, I haven't had actually the vacation last year was a vacation, yeah, the only vacation I really had, I would say, for quite some years. I mean, of course, you have these short trips to your family, or you go to a city for a couple of days, but like 10 days, 14 days. But I don't mind. I'm definitely, I don't mind that. I like it because I like my job, I like my profession. And so it doesn't really feel that bad that I don't have that much vacation.
That's yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I think that's one of the things too where as you know, I can relate. I put out a lot of content with whether doing Twitch or streaming YouTube stuff. So, I think it's one of those things where you can kind of you see the more you do, the more stuff you're creating, it gets to be a little bit, it's like almost like hard to find time to break. But I can't speak for you, but I know myself, I love content, I love poker, I love creation. So I'm sure, it's like it's nice when you can kind of mix the two together, but it definitely can become where I think you would be able to speak when we dive into the Raise Your Edge course, how it's sort of, I'm very curious how it started and just sort of progressed. But I think it's one of those things that just kind of like you find that there's just more and more time and more stuff to do and a little less time
Yeah.
for a vacation. But I think that's important to find the balance, and I want to chat about that as well. So tell us what do you love about poker? What drew you into poker where you were like, all right, this is what you decided where, all right, I want to do this. Like what are some of the things about poker that just you say, you know what, I love this game, I love how it is, and you're passionate about it? What would you say you love the most about poker?
I've always been very competitive. So I used to play football semi-professional until I was 16, 17. Then I got into esports. So I always did something on a semi slash professional level. And also, I think the second reason was that I really hate the traditional corporate environment, because I believe that if you do something, you should either get rewarded if you do something well, or you should uh, see the consequences if you do something wrong. And when I had some jobs, I was, for example, working on a cashier during my college. I was working in a football stadium as a security guard. So I had all kinds of different jobs. But no matter what I did, I always received the same salary. And this just makes no sense to me. I think everything should be rewarded based on your performance. And it just didn't feel natural to me. And I wanted to find something where when I fuck it up, I don't get anything or I have to pay for it. If I do extremely well, I get a huge reward. And then I got into poker. I'm like, if I play like shit, I'm losing money. If I play good, I get money in the long run, of course. I mean, don't get me wrong, as you know, poker in the short term, the most absurd things can happen. But in the grand scheme of things, in poker, those who will have the the breath to endure long downswings, to work very hard, to play very well, they will get rewarded more than someone that is studying less and is tilting and playing bad and so on and so forth. And that was one of the reasons where I got hooked so quickly. Like, okay, this is something I enjoy, and I get slapped, I get kicked a little bit literally when I play bad. And this then was a very like a spark for me, where I decided, okay, I'm gonna take that more serious.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. Just looking at some more of the questions I want to make sure we touch on here. So so you love poker, you found your love. That makes being competitive, all those things. When did you decide, or when? when did you say, okay, you know what? Wow, this is crazy. Like you started playing and now you're like, I'm an elite player. Like was there, I guess maybe talk about a break. And you could talk about one of the bigger wins you've had, or what, like you remember a time where you were just like, you went to sleep and you're like, man, I'm killing these sitting goes, or like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I know I'm head and shoulders above like other people, what they're doing. You know, when was it when did it click where you're like, wow, I'm good at this game. I love this game. And I think I can do this for, longevity. When do you remember, was there like a moment or a day, or do you remember roughly the time period where it just kind of all clicked into place about the game just becoming like transparent for you that you were a winning player?
Um, it's really hard to say because it was a very, very long time. I think it took me almost a year and a half. I think after 1 year of playing, and I already made money once I cashed out a little bit, and once I realized I can pay my bills, I it was not the very first day when I withdrew some money and I'm gonna pay my bills that I realized, oh, you're a professional now. But then after several weeks, I realized, damn, you're paying your bills by playing poker. And then I realized, okay, this is now a real job. This is now a real profession. You're a professional player. And then I also started thinking about anything else like mindset and nutrition and treating my body properly, a good environment, a supportive environment, trying to connect with other players, trying to build a network, and then everything fell into place. And yeah, probably I would say around it's hard to say. Maybe 2 or 3 years after I started playing poker.
And then, so tell us your biggest tournament score. I believe that's the part from the Raise Your Edge course, which I'm going to show you guys in a second, kind of walk you through how it works and what exactly it is, because it is a masterpiece. That score, I would think it would be your largest, was at that 100K scoop or W Coop event where you played Fedor heads up and won that event. I know that you break down that entire kind of final table in 3 parts. Was that your largest tournament score ever?
Yes, it definitely was.
And could you tell us a little about what that was and what that meant for you, and as a poker player, kind of, and actually, and even just to go another step on that, after that tournament score, did that bring you to kind of motivate you more, like, wow, this is unbelievable, like I want to press and I can still get better, or was that kind of like, all right, I hit my biggest score, I'm gonna relax for a little bit, enjoy this, and take it off? Did you find yourself more motivated, less motivated, and was that before or after you had decided to do the Raise Your Edge, build the Raise Your
It
Edge
was
course?
actually in the middle of it. It was in the middle. I started working on the course in April 2016, I think. Then the tournament was in September 2016, and the course was released in April 2017. So last year. So it was literally in the middle, and this gave me the final kick because when you produce content, you have these doubts: is it good enough? People gonna like it? And then I realized, okay, you need to bring that out. You need to share what you know, and that was actually the main motivation I got from there. In terms of poker, at this time I was already playing less because I was heavily working on Raise Your Edge and heavily working on the content. It it actually, I think it was not such a big motivation for me, to be honest, because I experienced the same when I played the highest hidden goals, that there's nothing more you can achieve, and that's very, very dangerous. When I look back, I was not so aware of it. I question myself, why don't do I not feel so motivated anymore? I mean, if you play the highest possible tournaments and you also win it, and also before that, I was playing the highest tournaments, the highest in goals. I have already won quite some money, and I did not feel there was something else I could reach. I did not have the time to play live, which I definitely probably would like to try out, also to play more tournaments, higher tournaments. But in terms of online poker, it was really hard to achieve something more. I don't want to come across as arrogant, but I think it's very natural for a human being that we want to set ambitious goals in order to stay motivated. But if you have achieved them, you fall into a hole. You feel that there's missing something, and it definitely did not bring the fire back. I right now if we want to speak about that, I feel way more fire because of all the strategies that have been developed, all the different solvers, and I'm way more fire, way more pumped about poker right now as I was when I won the 100K.
Right. That makes sense. I think I can just relate a little bit on that with in just some talking with Olympic Michael Phelps, lived with him for 7 years. It's known there's an Olympians in general. They have kind of not a depression. It's hard because when you hit that peak and there's only so many times you can do that. Like all of a sudden you win that tournament. Now you're playing $200 of $500 schedules. It's kind of hard to hit that to get back to that level, like where you don't even have a chance to try it. So, I could see how that would be very mentally, it is mentally tough to stay motivated, stay hungry. So I could definitely, they
Yeah,
make sense and it's very
it's
interesting.
it's, it's definitely the hunger, yeah. And right now I feel way more hungry about poker.
That's awesome. And so that, I mean, obviously it was great timing with your course. You said it was sort of in the middle of it. You added that section, which I'm going to go scroll through and show everyone. I'm pretty sure most of the people in here are aware what Raise Your Edge is and how it works. I'm going to show you guys, kind of walk you through some of the different sections so we can let Ben talk about it. Cause for me, I find it super interesting too, how it was developed. Like I want to know, did you, how big of a team you have now? How has, why don't I go ahead and why don't I scroll over here? And let me just see if I can hit the right. And I'm hitting, I think we're, let me see if I can get that on the screen. I think Vadran's trying to fix some settings with our, because some people are hearing this in the left ear only, I believe. I don't know why. So again, this is Ben's first podcast, my first podcast. We're, testing some stuff here. So if the sound's a little messed up for you guys at home, I apologize. I think maybe in the left ear, someone said they're having an issue, but let's see if Vader can get that fixed, and we'll kind of scroll over here. This is a Raise Your Edge. They have a YouTube page, they have a Twitter page, Instagram. You guys have all the content. You roll out a lot of stuff, so make sure you give that a follow. And then let's go over to, I guess you can't see, can you see my screen? Do you have it up on the side,
No.
Ben? You don't have it up. Okay, I'm just going to, let me see if there's a,
No, wait. Now I can see it, yeah.
you can see it. Okay, so let's let's dive into this for those of you that don't know about the course. So this is the how it looks when if you get the course. There's the master class. They have the range viewer. There's a bounty course as well, which is pretty cool. And then there's something else you guys are going to be releasing here soon. But why don't we just kind of go through so explain to me like how it got developed. So did you go ahead and say, all right, this is what I want to provide? Most of these videos are what, 30 minutes to 2 hours. I mean, I guess like this depends, how much, like how did you break it down? Did you say, all right, this is the subjects I want to do, I'm going to record? Like how did that all get put into place? Like how did you sort of navigate this course, and how much help did you have with doing that?
It actually started way earlier. I was saving all the hands that I think are interesting and illustrate because, as you know, the course is very practical. So even in the theory part, I always try to mix in hands to illustrate the theory. So I'm not just generalizing things. I always try to find the right examples in order to make sure that people understand the stuff I'm talking about also in practice. So over the years, I've always gathering hands that I found interesting. I didn't have a purpose. I didn't know what to do with them, and of course, I started giving webinars a couple of years ago. I had a lot of coachings. Um, I was working for Poker Strategy, creating videos for them, for other poker schools, for other poker stables, um, and uh, I saved all the material, all the hands, and then over the year, I then started creating an index, all the topics I would like to cover in that course. And that's how I got there. I was not sitting down and contemplating which topics I would like to cover. It was basically the stuff I used from my own play or from the material I used for giving webinars or all the content I have been working on back then. So I then realized, okay, it is important to structure everything from pre-flop, the fundamentals, then getting deeper into 3-betting, 4-betting, then post-flop, all different scenarios such as in position, out of position, as preferred aggressor, as cold caller, as in 3-bet pots. And that's where I then used the material I had in order to then fill these topics. And believe me, that's the course you can see right now, I changed it multiple times. Maybe it's a strength, but it's definitely also weakness that I always try to make everything perfect, and that's why it took me so long. And that's how I conceived that course.
I love it. And I would say, I think that's pretty, it's amazing that, you know, you guys as the Raise Your Edge community, how many people now, I know some of the team pretty well, you know, working and talking to them and doing so. How many actual people are in Raise Your Edge that are day to day or that are on your team, from helping with the videos, the content, affiliate, everything? How many people are actually a part of Raise Your Edge, like that are in your group?
We have around 20 people. We have all different types of course, legal department, marketing, around which includes social media, which includes creating all sorts of marketing campaigns. Then people helping me with the visuals, like trailers, with the videos. Then we have people supporting me with the Russian community, since I don't speak Russian, with the Portuguese community, or let's say, the Portuguese-speaking community. We have people that help me with business infrastructure to coordinate everything between the departments. So yeah, a lot of different people with different tasks, a huge team, which and then of course all the coaches that are supporting the community in Discord or on our website, in the forums. So yeah, and then also soon, for the esports.
And so, yeah, it's, again, like, that is the cool part, that you guys put out this program and it's not just like, all right, it's out, people are buying it, you know, like hotcakes. Cause I know, you know, how many people I know that have tried it and have given great reviews, including myself, you know, obviously doing the work and kind of realizing I've been playing 17 years, but this was definitely eye-opening for me, because I realized there was like, all right, I'm a winning player, but there's a lot of stuff that I'm not aware of, or that I would say I was rusty on, or, you know, wasn't giving the proper attention. It could be something where, you know, maybe one of these sections clicks for you and it's just so worth it. Like, you maybe plug one leak or one thing that you were not looking at correctly, because poker players in general are pretty stubborn. Everyone likes to think they know everything and that they're the best, but, you know, I think that's when you can kind of let your guard down and realize that you know, that even now, after going through the course, doing stuff, there's always stuff to work on and improve. So the fact that you guys go in and plug stuff, or if you see a range, like you're looking at some of these different ranges for different positions and you find an update, or you see it differently, that you guys go back and actively change it and kind of make those adjustments, is really, really cool, and shows that you guys care about what you're doing, not just to, you know, knock out some content and have people buy it, which is awesome. And as we referenced that win you had, that how much was it for first? The 100K you ended up playing Fedor heads up. How much?
1.1 million.
1.1 million USD, and that was on Poker Stars, and it was a scoop or W Coop, I believe. I forget which one. W Coop, and that was 2016, 17.
Yeah.
It's 2016. So, you know, the cool part is, I know you have Stefan Sontheimer break down part of the video. I think this is one of the more valuable. You know, there's all this interesting information here, but the fact that you get to go in and replay the hands and talk about different spots and hear Stefan kind of break down what he thinks. You're playing heads up versus Fedor. You know, all the different spots here are super interesting, and it's also, you know, a really cool part of the course that's in there. So that's amazing. And then we have let's go. Talk to me about this Ranger a little, because this is something like my dad, for instance, who has the course and loves it. It's a little, I don't want to say confusing, but just kind of maybe some people didn't realize, even me for the first few months, I didn't realize when it was available that it was here. So, you know, to me, this is one of the coolest tools about the course, because if you don't have time, or you just don't really want to watch like hours of videos, and you just say, you know, I want a quick kind of understanding, this is a pretty cool tool that you can literally take for, you know, different, whether to flat call, 3-bet, you know, the open raising, you know, you can click by position. And you guys give a pretty detailed how to do you know, whether it's, you can see raise, 4-bet or call, limp hands. It shows you like the full matrix of hands. It even breaks down the exact percentage out of how many combos, and it gives you like, you know, kind of solutions. So even if you don't memorize every single spot, it gives you like an idea. You know, you have a problem with small blind, big blind, like you know, for heads up, you can go ahead and kind of click through and just sort of play with stuff. And again, you don't have to memorize it exactly, but you can kind of get an idea for the type of hands and type of spots that you should be maybe looking at or squeezing with, or playing differently as a limp raise, or just so explain to me this a little bit, how this works, and how, and you do change this, right? This is something that is getting updated a fair amount as well.
We did some heavy updating the last couple of months, I think 1 or 2 months. At first people might get confused because of all the different colors, but you will get into it pretty quick. It follows a certain pattern, and you shouldn't get overwhelmed by it, because it should just hint you in a direction, and then you follow this direction, you try to apply it, because you will never apply this 100% perfectly in game. Nobody does. It's just about trying to be as close as possible, and then mistakes will of course happen. And whether, for example, here, let's say the spot cutover is under the gun, okay, or if it says, let's say Jack 9 suited is 50% of the time a 3-bet and 50% a call, and Queen 10 suited is 100% a call, and let's say you 3-bet 50% of the time Queen 10 suited call, that's totally fine. It shows you which kind of hand categories you're supposed to 3-bet, which kind of hands you're supposed to be flat calling with, and then you're gonna be totally fine, and which kind of frequencies. If the ideal frequency would be 3-betting 8% of the time, but you 3-bet 7.2 or 8.6%, that's not gonna make a difference. But you shouldn't be at 4 or 5%, neither you should be at 10 or 12%, right? So it shows you a direction that you can then screen or monitor with your own game, with your own frequencies, with your own stats, and then you're going to belong to probably the top 1% in the entire pool.
I will say this. So this alone, to me, like, forget, like, go through the tournament master class, and there's the bounty course, which is just pretty incredible as well. Talking about, that's a whole nother subject, but nowadays on PokerStars and the other sites, like, there's so many bounty tournaments. So it's like, even if you're playing, I don't know, what would you say, like $5, $10 bounty tournaments, like the amount of money and understanding like certain spots and to play correctly. I'll be honest. So I haven't done the whole bounty course. I've talked to you about it. We actually have done a bounty deep run I had. We've done a review and we've gone through some of this, but I haven't done the whole thing yet. But I kind of understand. I've gone through some of it and I understand the premise of it. But it's just one of those things where it's like, people ask, is it worth it? Well, if you're playing poker at any type of for real money, this kind of stuff, like you said, and people say, why are they giving it away, or why are you teaching this kind of stuff? But look, just because you put it out there, doesn't mean you have to. It takes time. You have to study it. You have to work on it. Doesn't mean like you know how to apply it. So this is just like, this is really useful tools. Even here, like stuff like this, like when I go through and look at stuff, yeah, exactly. I haven't memorized all of this. I should probably, but like I've done, I work on it, I look at it, but just kind of looking, well, I would have done this differently. Or why am I not having a lot of chips when I go deep in tournaments? Why am I deep but not powerful? Maybe it's because I'm missing, like I'm not jamming, I'm flatting with these type of hands instead of jamming in these spots. And it's like, there's a right answer. Poker is solved to some degree in certain spots. There is work that you can do, and there's just certain things that are clearly in error. So I think having these hand matrix and like looking through this, my dad, when he saw this, he was just like blown away. He was like, wow, this is crazy. Because it just literally, gives you a visual. A lot of people are visual, and it's just such a nice, useful tool that you can kind of go back and you could plug a spot. Well, I was deep in this tournament and I didn't know what to do here. Well, you could take the blinds, you could take the situation, and you can kind of compare it and say, wow, well, that's look, it's not what I should have done, or this would have been the optimal play. So, for me, this is my favorite part of the whole course, and it's absolutely brilliant, and I just think this is like, in itself, it's worth it for the program. But then there's obviously all the other video and content. So, I think, and how often are you updating these type of like ranges and such?
It always depends on, because we also have an exclusive Discord group where all the owners of the expert class have access, and they can ask questions. We engage. All the coaches, including me, are responding, and they can post hands, and then we try. If I feel okay, there's something missing, then I'm going to add it, or I'm going to update. I'm constantly studying the game myself. I'm working with the most recent tools such as PyroSolver, MonkaSolver, with all the ranges. So I always see when there are certain strategies that need to be overworked, then I change it. But I think even though if you just take the course itself, it's going to be applicable for the next several years. I mean, you're never going to be able to see in the future, but the way I see people playing, the way I see the majority of players playing, they play, so many of them play so bad. That's why there's still money to make. And I don't believe in people saying there's no money in poker anymore. I mean, you can clearly see it in the results of many players that are consistent and studying the game. And yeah, when I feel okay, we need to change something because there's some strategy missing, or there's a strategy outdated, or there's a better strategy where people can even exploit the opponents more or have a higher win rate, then I change it or I update it.
Absolutely. I've pulled up here on the screen Discord, guys. This is a unbelievable tool. You know, as you can see on the left-hand side, I have one for my Poker Flow show. We're in the Raise Your Edge one right here. I mean, there's support, there's rail chat when people go deep. You know, the community is I don't know how many members you have now in Discord alone, but I mean, I know it's an unbelievable tool and engagement. You guys even have Brazilian for Portuguese. You have different countries, languages in here. People are sharing the results, building. It's an incredible community. Also for the different courses and things that you guys offer, it's organized in there. And you know, again, Raise Your Edge. There's Stake Kings. Here's mine, you know, Lex, Tonka, all these guys. Like, it's a really cool tool. And if you guys, you know, Raise Your Edge is expensive. It's a higher price point. It depends what you're playing. If you're playing 2-cent sit and goes or something, it's probably, you know, it's a little bit much. But if you're playing, you know, any type of real money gaming, you know, it's one of those things. It's an investment, and I highly believe in it. But you guys also do give a lot of free content. You can join Discord, you can join YouTube, which we'll have in the show more below, and you know, there is a content machine. So I would say this would be a great way for you guys to learn and get better, whether you buy the course or not.
Yeah. And actually, I receive a lot of questions of people asking me, Ben, I play these and these stakes, should I buy it? And I'm honestly telling them, dude, I don't know anything about your game. I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know anything about your background. I can't tell you that. I mean, you have to decide that for yourself if it's worth or not. And best is you can even join the Discord and you can speak to our students directly and ask for feedback. They can give you better feedback than I can because I'm not in your situation. There might be students that play similar stakes in a similar situation and they have a way better take on that than I have. So what I also tried, that's why I'm doing the YouTube videos, that's why I hired coaches and paying them. They are supporting all the students in Discord, in the channels, in the forums. You can create a blog and our coachings are following and trying to give you feedback and push you. You can engage with our community, you can watch the YouTube content. And I think you can already tweak your game, you can optimize your win rate and learn so much about the game by just soaking up all the free content we're offering. And then when you feel you want to take the next step and you want to invest in your game, then you have the courses. But honestly, I think to start with, you don't need the course. You really don't need the course. You can just use the free content we're offering or all the mindset tips we're giving, and you can build a very strong mindset and gain a lot of knowledge, and also using our community to meet people, to make user-to-user coachings, to get feedback on your hands, to just become a very good poker player.
Absolutely. I mean, that's there is an absolute ton of stuff out there that you guys offer, and that's the thing that's cool. Like, you guys are just putting out a lot of content, so I don't want people to feel pressure to buy or whatnot. This is just, I want to show like what the wide range of content there is. And again, you guys have Twitch. That's something I want to ask you about as well. I have your Twitch page pulled up. I think it's like you're hosting Patrick, who's had, a student of the game as well. He had a nice 100K score in the Sunday Million. You see Kevin Martin, who's been doing the course, just absolutely crushing the live tournaments and putting in a lot of work. Lex, Jamie. So a lot of the people that you guys know that are streamers, and they're using this stuff, including myself, and the Twitch community. It's been amazing. So tell me your experience on Twitch. Now, Raise Your Edge here. We see the Twitch page. How have you enjoyed doing some streams, and what would you say about how important Twitch is for poker in general and growing the game? Did I just Ben, are you there? Hello. Shit. Sec, guys. Ben, you there?
Yeah.
I don't
What
know.
happened?
I have no clue. This is podcast 101, man. I hit. I don't know if I did that or the internet dropped or what, but you just went off. I think I'm having maybe my hotkey. Let me see if my hotkeys are working still. Yeah. See, no, it turns off. I'm having an issue when I hit F5. Oh shit. Yeah. Can you hear me or no? Ben. Ben.
Yeah.
We're back. I think I'm hitting. My hotkeys is doing that, but that wasn't an issue before. Let me just see. Uh, So weird, man. So I can't get on. Hold on. Let me just. You can hear me right now.
Yes, it's all good.
Okay, because I'm basically trying to show the like when I go onto the course or to the Twitch, and if I hit F5, switch in OBS. I'm all right, man. I'm having a little bit of issue. I'm gonna leave it on. You can see the page right now, your Twitch page, correct? Is that what's
Yes.
showing? Okay. All right, we'll leave it like this then. So yeah, tell me a little bit about Twitch and what your experience is, how you've enjoyed it, streaming on there, and kind of what you think Twitch means for the future of poker. I've seen like No Limit GG, that's Fedor, that guy Stefan, that crew of crushers that you guys I know work with and do stuff with. That's kind of like your homies. Like how is I see. I can't tell you now. Honestly, I get daily from like well-known poker pros or friends or acquaintances. Like it seems like Twitch is becoming like a bug where even like Chance Cornet, other players are starting to get on and they kind of realize, well, shit. If I'm playing online poker, if I'm doing it, why not have like a way to build your own brand and build if you're promoting something or just to have it's fun too. Like instead of sending a hand history, you have like a video, you have a clips, you have a record of it, and I think it's pretty cool. It seems to be catching on really fast, and I see some top players in the game starting to dive into it. So, what do you think about the future of it, and how have you enjoyed it?
I definitely enjoy it. That's why I'm doing it occasionally. However, for me, playing on a competitive level is right now more important because I think if you can't do both. If you Twitch, you have to engage with the chat, you have to respond to questions, and you can't bring the same level of focus to the table as if you would play or yourself if you would not be streaming. So that you always make a little sacrifice. Um, but I definitely enjoy it. But sometimes I just feel like, okay, today I want to grind, I want to perform to the best of my abilities, and then I'm not gonna stream. For example, yesterday I couldn't stream the 5K deep run anyway because I was playing from a hotel room, so I didn't have any microphone with me or any proper setup. But also when I'm back home in Vienna in my grind station, I just sometimes feel I want to be locked up in my room, just be in the tunnel, just be laser focused, just trying to destroy, and that is not really possible when you stream and you make more mistakes. In the same way I record for YouTube, um, but it's just for an hour or 2 hours where I record footage, and that's totally fine. But sometimes I just want to cut out every distraction, and also recording, also streaming. It is some sort of distraction because your game, your level of focus, whatever it is, it deteriorates automatically. That's totally normal. But I definitely enjoy it. I definitely think that I'm going to try it out more often in the future.
I I will say this is an interesting segue to which I'm pretty excited about because I can say I the thing about poker and being a sport, it's such a mental game, and I couldn't agree with you more. I notice that my biggest poker results online have all been when I'm playing like one table or two max, like kind of even towards the end of my streams. Like it seems like I always do really well with my last two tables. It's almost like just being in the matrix. But there's definitely something sacrificed when you're playing six, four, five, six, seven tables, and then you got to hold when you're engaging with the Twitch chat. You're for sure not at your best. You're timing out sometimes. You miss something. A clear spot, blind on blind, where you should shove. You maybe fold or vice. Well, there's just so many things that the game is so competitive now. I agree. Like it's like I for sure if I didn't have a Twitch channel, I think I would have probably my results would be better. But also part
100%.
part of that is that I need to take responsibility and ownership of that and realize that, and then maybe reg less tables, skip a few things. I'm mad at myself certain times during some of these 5K or 10K W Coop events or scoops where I end up saying, okay, I'm only going to play like this and a few others, and I end up having like 6, 7 tables, and it's chaos. It's like if you're playing a 5K buy-in online or you're playing a 1Ks, 2Ks, it doesn't really make sense to play a hot 55 or the tamale or the cool down 100, because of the value, your expected value, and all that. So I think that's something to kind of look at and realize the mental side of how important it is and how everything matters. Like you really talk about meditation. You work out before. I see you boxing. The preparation is huge. Having your food ready, like on that break, having your food available, knowing having a plan for the day where you're not rushing. You don't, oh, what am I going to eat? What's going on? Because everything matters. You need to be perfect when you're playing against the elite players. So let's segue in there a little bit. So you were the master. You have the course here that you're going to be releasing. When is this going to come out? This is part of the Raise Your Edge portfolio. When will this kind of be released? This program.
Which one?
The mind
Yeah.
mastermind, powerful mind. The
This is probably going to release in mid-December. This is the mindset course. This is the course I've been working on now for more than a year. Um, it's a very intense, very deep course. It's of course it's made for poker, but very very applicable for life. If you follow me, if you listen to me, you figure out that for me everything around poker is as important as poker itself. If you live unhealthy, if your relationships are not in place, it will reflect on your results. So for me, it's very important that myself, but also the people I'm talking to, the people I'm coaching, that they have a very strong mindset and a very strong, stable environment that is very supportive for you to reach the maximum of results, but also trying to figure out what is holding you back, because we all carry something around that is holding us back. And you might have experienced that for yourself. If you work on something, first of all, you're totally aware of you want something, right? You want something, and you put in so much work, yet on the way to achieving it, you have these moments of I just can't do it, I have to quit. And you feel a force or an energy, or however you would call it, that is something is holding you back. And I have discovered that over the course of the last years. I've working with mental coaches. I have studying a lot of different areas, mindset and psychology and self-improvement myself. And I've put everything together that I think is very important. And of course, I haven't studied psychology, but I went through this entire shit myself. I've played now almost for 10 years. I've suffered the biggest downswings, and I've also experienced the biggest upswings. I have suffered hardship in my life, and especially from poker, and how to combine it with your life. And at some point, and to be honest, Jeff, we both know something is going wrong in this life with our education system, the way we're growing up, the way certain values have been taught us. And yeah, there's so much in this course, and again, it's very structured. I talk about tilt and how you can counter tilt, and it's not just this traditional mindset course of, okay, let's define what is tilt. Okay, what can you do against tilt on the table, and what can you do after the session? It's more than that, and I'm guiding you through it. You will find a lot of animations, a lot of practical tips, and some of the people that already tested it told me it's gonna fuck with your mind. You're gonna think about your life, about your past, what you want. We're gonna include a journal as well that's going to ask you very bothering questions. But yeah, it's just something that uh, was always my dream of releasing something that is not going to help people in poker, but also in their everyday life. Because I think everything interferes. It's when you want to be successful in poker, you need to have a healthy mindset. You need to have a good environment, and you need to do well outside the tables as well. And I'm going to show you how you can connect that, how you can achieve that, how you can deal with your past, and then I think you will have literally the best mindset possible in order to achieve whatever you want to achieve in poker. And even if you don't, you have a strong mindset that you can use for other areas in your life as well.
Absolutely. I mean, there's just so many times where, especially online, where it's so easy to click that register button and you're just firing. And like when a session isn't going well, or you're not at your best, or you're mentally not there, it's a huge deal, especially in live too. I mean, there's times where, I've worked with Elliot Rowe. I've done mindset stuff, talking with you as well. It's just like, when you're at a table, when you're playing live, it's got to be you and the table. You're on your phone, you're distracted, you're doing emails, you're doing other stuff. It's just like, it just doesn't work. So I think that's going to be really interesting to see how you break it down with that course. I'm looking forward to checking that out. Let's hit a few more questions. I'm going to look on my Instagram, guys. If you have a specific question for Ben, I did you can actually ask it in there in one of the stories, one of the recent stories. So we'll try to get a few of yours. I want to ask you as well, what is, if you weren't playing, or actually, let's do this first. Where do you see yourself in, well, let's do this one first. Let's do this one before. I'm trying to think which one is going to take longer, but I want to make sure we get to these. Okay, so if you weren't playing poker, running Raise Your Edge, what do you think you would be doing at this current moment? What would be going on in your life?
I think I would be doing something on a competitive level. Don't know what it would be. Maybe some sort of sports. Um, Maybe even running a business. I Yeah, it's tough to say because I really found something that I enjoy. Um, yeah,
Okay, and let me.
something sports related, I would say, for sure.
Very cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Like you said, you're very competitive, so I think that checks out. What about how do you unwind? This is one for me. I find it like a little bit hard sometimes to turn off. Where especially like you have Discord, there's all these different socials. I mean, you have people that help with those accounts and whatnot. But do you ever find yourself where now that it just like there's so much stuff going on? You built this empire, Raise Your Edge, and there's always something that can be done. There's always a video you can do. There's always a tournament you could play. There's always a person you could talk to. You're dealing with some of the biggest names on Twitch, Lex, Jamie, Kevin. We're all reaching out to you. We want to get better. We're studying. You help with us. You have other people. You coach people. So do you ever find it like your phone with WhatsApp and stuff is just always backlogged? Do you turn your phone off for a couple hours a day where you don't check it? What are some of the things you do to sort of disconnect from everything, all the distractions?
If I'm not currently traveling, my usual routine is not checking my phone the first 30 to 60 minutes after getting up. I take a cold shower, breakfast, do a workout, all that kind of stuff. Of course, something there's urgent, I need to check something, then I check it, but then I have a purpose. It's sometimes hard because it's tempting. I know there's a lot of shit happening, and I want to see what's going on, but I really try to resist. And then in the evening, I also try to unwind by not checking screens or phones before I go to bed. Maybe read a book or just going to bed, just lie there. I don't mind if I feel like I'm gonna watch a movie before I go to bed. That's also totally fine. Um, During the day, it's definitely tough. I've turned off all notifications. What I do is, again, I try to create the best possible environment on Facebook, Instagram. I'm not following anything that does not bring me a little bit of value in terms of, yeah, growing, learning, getting inspired. And if I want to enjoy myself, I can go on these funny websites and just see some cat movies. I don't mind, but I think it needs to it shouldn't reach the magnitude where it has control over you. I want to decide when it's time to enjoy myself, when it's time for pleasure time. And not just because I feel bored, I'm going to watch some cat movies. So I want to consciously make the decision, okay, now I'm going to chill for 50 minutes. Okay, now I'm going to take off and play a video game for 2 hours with friends, you know? And when I have work to do, that I decide, no, tonight I have to work, and then I go to bed, and maybe tomorrow I take a few hours off to do something, maybe with my girlfriend, or I do something else, or I take a day off. So it's important that you are in charge. And of course, I can feel sometimes that I'm not in charge. And I think with all the information overload and news and notifications and messaging tools and social media, it's hard to stay in charge. So I encourage everyone that is feeling the same. The first step to do so is to just unfollow everything that is not productive. Leave the WhatsApp groups that are not productive. I just message my friends, hey, this group is I need less distractions. I need more focus. That's why I'm leaving. No hard feelings. And those friends that are real friends, they say, wow, that's cool. Okay, cool. Those friends that are toxic and negative, they're gonna be like, oh, you think you're better and all that kind of bullshit, right?
Right.
So actually a good test to figure out who are your real friends. And yeah, and then you get automatically less notifications. You have less pages or less, you have less on your feed. So even if I go on Facebook, let's say I went on Facebook 1 hour ago, and now I go on Facebook again, there's just nothing new. Like, oh, there's nothing to watch, and then I go back to work. So you should try to set the ideal environment, and then of course also consciously trying not to check it every single hour, and set yourself, I don't know, a little reward. Okay, I'm going to work on that, and afterwards I'm going to check a little bit of what's happening on Facebook. I watch a YouTube video for my most the, how do you say, I'm lacking a word, the vlogger I'm enjoying the most, or whoever you want to watch videos from, right? And that's how I approach it with social media notifications, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And so that's I guess that also helps when you have a great team. Like you said, you Raise Your Edge. You guys have a bunch of people now, so you have people that are kind of monitoring the discords and the messaging and stuff, so you don't have to get too caught. Because that's something I find myself. I love to like engage with people on YouTube. When I do a YouTube video, I go through the comments, I look at it. But it's like people do have to understand. Sometimes when they're like they reach out or they say a question, it feels like you really want to engage with everyone, but they have to understand that like you won't have a life if you just responded to every question, every comment, and all that. So I think that's kind of like a fine line to find that balance, and just like you said, turn your phone off, make some rules for yourself, because otherwise you can just get caught in like a social media and just kind of warp. So yeah, I think that's really important. So speaking of the future here, what do you feel 5 years, 10 years from now? I guess this is kind of tricky stuff, but do you see yourself like, I guess even more so, where do you see the I think it might be more interesting to kind of tie it into, where do you see poker in 5 to 10 years? Do you think online? Do you think there's the 6+ games now? I personally feel poker is like a timeless game. It's one of those things, like it might not be no limit hold'em, but there's PLO, there's other versions, like some variation is going to come where there'll be less. There's always seem to be evolving. But like, do you see yourself doing Raise Your Edge or programs, coaching poker stuff 5-10 years from now, or is there other projects that you might be interested in? Where do you kind of see yourself going over the next decade?
First of all, I think poker, as you said, will always be there. It's just time. It's a timeless game. It's just going to be a different format. It's might be Portman Omar, but what I truly believe is that it will go in the same direction as esports. So you will see bigger live events. You will see people playing on bigger stages, and yeah, I think it's going to reach more people. I mean, there's still so many markets undiscovered. Still so many markets isolated, US market, the Asian market. There's still so many countries having their own player pool in Europe. So I think once it's also more regulated and it's more accepted, we will see poker being played more on bigger stages as it is today. And yeah, in terms of the formats, I think tournament poker will be the game of the future. And then you will still, I think cash games and Sim Ghost will still be around. There will always be some niche games, but I think tournament, especially cash games, I think cash games will get less and less popular. Because first of all, the PokerStars is heavily investing into tournaments. I mean, it's all about the series, Group W, Group, more and more tournament series, different formats, bounties, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think tournament poker is going to be the main dominant game in the future, and I think we're going to see way more formats. 6+ Hold'em might be a game for tournament as well in the future, which I would be super happy about. Then Fusion Poker that was released lately might also be an option. It's now there's some traffic if you compare it with the other formats. I think it is very well accepted. It's a very interesting format, and then we will see. And I think that's great because it always keeps the players, or it encourages the players to work on their game, because or to learn new formats, and otherwise they're going to fall back and other people are going to catch up. So yeah, I truly believe that it's there's a huge future in poker. It already has started, of course, but I think people don't really know what the potential is in poker, and I definitely don't think that poker is dead at all.
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, the numbers in live tournaments are up everywhere pretty much. Like new series, WPTs adding stuff. You know, PokerStars numbers have been up for their series. WSOP numbers are up. They're adding events all over the world. I mean, it's not like where it's like you can't even do it. Like you can't do all the stuff. There's major series all the time. Literally, like anytime you want to play, you could go play somewhere in a good size, pie-in or tournament or field size. So it's a good sign. I think the U.S. is important, obviously, with legalization. Pennsylvania coming in. If the U.S. opens back up, sports betting just got legalized at a federal level. So I think it's on the right track, and I think there's going to be. I think the longevity is not an issue. I think it's going to be around for a long time, whatever that variation. Guys, I want to mention there is a retweet giveaway. Raise Your Edge is going to be giving away a package of gear. I believe it comes with the full, bag, hoodie, tank top, pants, the whole thing. So if you guys get that retweet out, I'm also giving 100 cash and 20 cash for these two tweets. So you guys, it's not too late. We still have another, 20 minutes or 20 minutes roughly with Ben here. So I should have mentioned that earlier, but get that retweet out on my Twitter account. And then also, if you guys want to give Raise Your Edge, let's see, your YouTube channel is growing very quickly. I see now. I was just plugging it in. So I have one as well for poker, and Raise Your Edge looks like already up, has 27,000 members. It's pretty incredible. So again, guys, if you don't want to do, if you want to check it out or see some of the stuff, if you've done a lot of recaps with some huge runs from some of your students, which is really cool to see them kind of break down, some big scores and talk about it with you. Which one of these, are any of these videos? I guess the Zadelhoff one where he won 1.6 million. This one's pretty sweet that he won the Scoop or W Coop main event from last year. Patrick Iyer Egyptian just had a big 100K Sunday Million score. Is there any other stuff in here, any videos you would say that are really valuable if you want to kind of from a learning perspective?
Yeah, all of them, of course.
They're all good.
No, but I think the one I played 2 weeks ago was 3 weeks ago. I had insane amount of deep runs. I think I had 5 or 6 final tables on one Sunday. Also big buy-ins, 1Ks, 2Ks. And I recorded the entire session. So you're going to see a lot of final table action. I think, deep runs, that's the first part, the most recent one, which we uploaded yesterday.
Okay. Sweet. I'm gonna check that out. It's one of those things. There's so, like, how it is with creating content. It's hard to to actually watch and do some. But I've watched some of these. I've watched this one, the $1.6 million W Coop run, it's really interesting. I think like doing the work, it's kind of fun to watch and get the visual with hands to sort of plug in and talk about and think about what you would do in these spots and hear the perspective from the player or the student and then yourself. So again, Raise Your Edge, guys. They have a YouTube channel. We have one as well we just kicked off this podcast, but I have one as well. Ben and I have done a couple very interesting ones, including I think we've done some bounty work where we've gone over. That's actually kind of how this came up. We were talking about doing another content video, and then I said I'm starting a podcast, and we just sort of said, all right, let's do this. So get a little different twist than usual. And I think the most interesting poker hand of my career, we spent about 40-50 minutes. That was a no, this was you playing a 10K. There was one which was also very cool, but there was one with from that scoop final table. Do you remember that one? The Jack's hand.
Yeah.
This was like probably the biggest ICM spot or decision of my life. So that was kind of I got absolutely blasted for this hand by the community, just in general, right? If for amateurs or people not knowing. So talking with you about the spot against Draft Ganger, it was a very interesting hand and very very beneficial for me to learn and kind of hear your perspective. So I think it's really cool, this YouTube type of content where you can go over and learn as well. So like that is free, guys. Check out Raise Your Edge's YouTube channel. I have one as well, Jeff Gross Poker. And if you guys want to kind of not maybe warm up to it and see if you like the format and content, and then dive into the actual Raise Your Edge course. So Ben, let's do a few more. I'm gonna look at some questions here so we don't run out of time from the people that are on Instagram. There's a story post, but let's ask a few more. Make sure we get this in. I want to check with you on this. This has been the big question that people talk about is poker is a zero-sum game. So what is your kind of, I guess, thought about that? They say people will, when they say, hey, poker, it's a zero-sum game, you're not benefiting society per se. Maybe some people would say that. How do you kind of counter that? How do you answer that? Or what would you say is a way that maybe you do give back or do stuff with, having time, or, and just your kind of overall game plan of an answer on that? Or if people, when they say that to you, or how do you feel about that?
I actually, if there are people saying, yeah, poker is a zero-sum game, you're not benefiting society, what are you doing, blah, 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 I don't really care about it. It's their take, but the one thing I have to say is that it's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. Of course, I'm going to defend poker now since I'm playing poker. Is if you think about all sorts of sports, whether it be football or esports, what is the value they're bringing to the market? They're also to a certain degree taking the money from people for jerseys, for tickets, for all sort of entertainment fees, whatever it is. So, but does it create value for this human being apart from entertainment? And poker, they also pay for entertainment, right? And I think it's false if it's poker, if it's sports, it can end up that you pay too much and you lose way too much money, and it reaches a magnitude that gets dangerous. But I think it's not only in poker, but of course, since poker is gambling, it's people are way more susceptible to it. But when we talk about value, I think then we have to talk about what about the value in all the other industries, and then we have a level of discussion where we need to think about talking about industries that actually create value, or jobs or professions. So I think it's a little bit wrong to see it from that perspective. I'm not talking about engaging in any kind of sports activity yourself, right? I'm just talking about if you attend an event. I'm also a big football fan, but it's just entertainment for me. I don't really see what kind of value does it bring to me apart from distracting myself from actually what is important, right? It can be resting or unwinding to a certain degree, of course, but so can poker for certain people. They had a stressful day and then they just want to play around, and maybe they lost a few dollars, they go to bed. It's their way of spending their money. That's their hobby. And I think if you spend money on your hobby by playing poker or football, whatever it is, then so it be. And actually, yeah, of course, but we need to speak about a potential addiction in poker, right? That's definitely dangerous, and we should take that serious. But when it comes to value, I disagree to a certain degree. However, what I believe is that when you're successful in poker, you should ask yourself the question, if you're just completely competitive and this is what makes you happy, then so be. I don't think everyone should have the obligation, oh, you win a lot of money in poker, now you got to donate a lot of it from it, or you need to serve humanity to a certain degree. I think it's important to give back, but it does not apply to everyone. Maybe there's someone that, no, this is what I want. I just want to play poker and compete on a very high level. Everything else is not important. That brings me the most happiness. And this is how I think they bring value. If you care about your happiness, if you're a happy human being, I mean, we wouldn't have that many issues in today's society, right? So, and the problem is that most people care too many about other people's. They are people pleaser. They try to make other people happy, and they totally neglect their own happiness. And then this creates a certain friction, problems occur, and it reaches a magnitude where more and more problems occur, and then we have fights, we have discussions, arguments, wars, and so on and so forth. I mean, now I'm
Yeah.
getting
No,
giving away too
it's
much.
actually I'm with you, man. It's such a powerful
You know,
thing because I agree completely. I also would say that not only that, but I think like it's also your free time. Like if
Jeff, you're cutting out on my side here.
oh, did I do something wrong with the hotkey again? Can you hear me or no? Ben? Ben, can you hear me?
Sorry. Yeah, now I'm back. Sorry. There
I,
was
I don't know if it's me or not, man. I'm like gun shy. I'm trying to like do some production stuff and move around. I just don't know if I'm messing up the connection here. So you can hear me right now, Ben? Fuck. Hello, Ben. Guys, help! Someone help! Ben, are you here? Uh, did I hit a hotkey? I'm live, but we lost Ben. That's important. We need Ben. I'm live on Twitch a lot. Ben has disappeared. No, we can't hear Ben. I can't hear Ben. I see he's on the call though. It might be on his end. We're gonna get this worked out. We're gonna be firing hard on podcasts, guys. I hope you're enjoying. This has been a blast so far. I'm so we
hey,
had, yeah. You
yeah,
back?
yeah, I'm back. Sorry,
I might have.
my computer just shut down.
All right, that's good news because that I thought I
No,
was blowing it
that was
over
okay.
here. All right, good. Good. So I lost my train of thought, but I will say that is for me. I used to think about that, but I feel the same way because look, if you're making a living doing something that makes you happy and that you love, and I mean for me and you, I would say it's probably even less so of an issue because like a point, kind of a mute point because you're providing content, learning material for so many people that are getting value, and that's kind of how I feel too. Like with Twitch and videos, it's like I'm doing stuff that is fun, engaging, that I'm creating. So I guess from like a poker, just like someone who's just playing for a living, maybe not producing content, maybe a little different argument, but like you said, this and as we like to say, this is not a hobby. I like to say that on my show. This is not a hobby. This is what I love. It's my passion. And I'm not saying go out and quit your job and people go play, Raise Your Edge, become a poker player that's good and just play for a living. I think it's important, like, to have other income coming in, to not stress yourself out, to be relaxed, to have fun, and use poker as like understand it's a game that you can be good at, work at, become a good player. That doesn't mean you should quit everything you're doing in life and play poker for a living. I wouldn't
Yeah,
recommend that anyway. Like even for myself, I have other revenue streams. I have created stuff. I've done stuff slowly. I've done right bankroll management. I'm not, there's just so much stuff that like poker to me has been the coolest thing in life. And I apply so many things in poker to my everyday life or learning. And that's the next question I want to talk to you about again. I get fired up, man. I start talking. I want to leave this about you, but I want to know for you, what skills have you developed in poker that translate to everyday life, or just in like what in poker has like you've learned, or kind of that you see that, well, wow, I do this at the table. I do this in my preparation. How do you use that in your, just like interacting in general in life? Like, have you found that there's a lot of things that kind of correlate to one another with poker and, metaphor almost for life?
yeah. It takes much more shit to happen to get you out of balance. um, Things where, for example, my friends I can see, or I mean, I'm also a very emotional person, I would say, and I can get very emotional about something really quick, but it does not really attack my mood. It does not, my emotions are not taking over. So I can still maintain rational. I'm still very conscious. I'm very mindful. And this is something poker has taught me. I was not like this before. And due to all the bad beats and downswings, and then something happens, like you're in a traffic jam, or I don't know, you can just smile about it. That's just like these everyday bad beats. You're gonna get over them so much easier. than if I would have not played poker. I don't know if it applies to other people, but it definitely applies to me.
Yeah, that's great.
When
Yeah,
I'm around with other people and I see they get mad about something, I sometimes question myself, like, serious? Like, why? But then I just remind myself, okay, I'm just coming from something completely different. I have a completely different background. I'm used to that. I'm used to bad beats. I know that's just part of the game and part of life. These life bad beats.
I
Of
will
course.
say it's so true, man. Like there's times where I'll be on stream and like I'll be deep or something, or even like at the W Coop I was in on my birthday, I was in a robe because my luggage got lost, and I was like final table to Mika. I forget how to pronounce his last name. I got it in Queens to Ace King for like to be top 3, and I'd lost that hand, and I was thinking like, oh my, how could this happen? This is so unfair. Blah blah blah. It's just like really like I'm playing a game I love. I'm doing something, and it's just like it puts stuff into perspective because really there's so much craziness in the world. Like we're talking about, I do feel that that's true. Like you've handled adversity, downswings, all these type of things that like you can incorporate in your life and think about it in a different perspective. So I think it's like I think poker's actually like a super telling about yourself, like similar, like if you play golf with someone, you can tell kind of how they conduct themselves, how they are. It's like at a table, if you're playing especially live or online, you can tell, like you see someone in the chat cursing out somebody, talking shit about how they play. It's kind of like something's not right there. Like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
mentally not quite, like something's off. It's usually maybe at home or personal, but you can really tell a lot about someone, maybe more so live, like how you interact and engage, but like online as well, just kind of how you meet people and talk. So I think there is a lot of carryover with real life and poker, and a lot of real life skills that you can develop and
Yeah.
use to an advantage. We're getting down here. Why don't we go on to, let me see if there, oh, actually a great question I saw in the chat, which I forgot, but I knew I had mentioned, or someone mentioned to me. Let's go over to the website here. So the Raise Your Edge, this is pretty cool. This course that's coming out, someone was asking how much was this course. I'll let you tell about it, but I believe it's a pretty good news in that. So can you elaborate on what this course, how it's going to work for them?
We haven't finally decided on a price yet.
Okay.
It will definitely be a standalone course, but it will be cheaper than the Term Masterclass by significantly.
Is it, so it will be, it's going to be similar to the Bounty Beast where it's a separate course,
also,
or
no, yeah, it will also be cheaper than the Bounty Beast. I don't want to say a number now because
okay.
it might change. We are now about to finalize everything, but yeah, at least I think somewhere in the region of half of the Travel Masterclass, the expert class.
Okay.
Somewhere in that region.
Very cool. So that was one question that I saw in the chat from above, and okay, that makes sense. Let me see what else here we have. So I guess you can't see those. Did you see any questions? I'm gonna pull up from my Instagram, guys. If you go to my Instagram story, I did post a questions tab where you can literally plug in a question. We'll try to get a few of these because we're winding up here on 90 minutes.
Let me add one more thing to what poker has taught me, and it also goes hand in hand to your earlier question whether poker brings value to the market, or since it doesn't bring value to the marketplace, what am I thinking about it? And I think that also what I've learned through poker is that it's so important to care about your happiness first. It's not that I want to come across as arrogant, that you should not care about other people at all, but I truly believe if you're not happy, you're not being able to provide or to deliver the value to others as you would when you're happy. It's that easy. If I wouldn't be happy, I wouldn't be able to provide those YouTube videos. I wouldn't be able to provide the content because I would feel miserable, I would feel exhausted, confused, angry, envious, whatever it is, right? So I have to deal with my own shit first. And
Absolutely.
I think people have to be way more selfish about their own happiness. Cut out the bullshit friends. Cut out the bullshit food. Cut out everything that distracts you. And I have realized, and that's why I'm so serious about keeping a low profile, because this is just right now distraction for me.
Right.
And that I reach a level of happiness, a level of focus that is unprecedented for my entire life. I've never felt so focused and because I have no distractions, it's that easy. And there are days where like, I actually it would be nice to have a little more distraction, right?
Right.
But it you have to take it so much serious, and people take so much care about the next iPhone they get and the next video game, the PlayStation, what movies to watch, and all that kind of bullshit. And again, I'm not saying you should never enjoy yourself. You should not, because the technology also brings a lot of pleasure, but you have to be very careful with it. And the highest priority should be really taking care about yourself. Make yourself happy first. This sounds very general, but we don't have time to elaborate on that. And I think what what I, for example, don't like is this kind of love yourself first. This sounds so general. What I approach it from a different standpoint. I don't tell myself love yourself. What I say is take care of yourself. And this is now we're talking very practical. Eat healthier, meditate, be more mindful, um, work out, surround yourself with like-minded people, educate yourself, read books. That's what I mean. That's what I mean by saying take care of yourself. This is something you can control, and when you do that, you're subconsciously communicating that you yourself. It is important for you, right? And then your subconscious mind starts understanding, oh, this guy, he really likes himself because he's taking care. And then that's where you develop this love to yourself. But just saying, oh, love yourself, well, okay, I love myself. It's not going to change anything, right? It's so, it's not really tangible. So, yeah, instead of trying to chase this loving yourself, start with taking care of yourself. And yeah, putting yourself in a position that allows you to reach good results and also reach a level of happiness that you are happy with. And believe me, there will never be an end level, like never be an end goal of, oh, I have reached the ultimate level of happiness. Negative emotions are important in life as well as positive emotions. If there aren't any negative states, you wouldn't be able to distinguish between negative and positive states. So you need to experience down times, hard times, but that's okay. That's part of it. But you
Absolutely.
got to understand that there's no end level of happiness. Now I've reached it. Now I can lean back and just chill for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. I would, yeah. No, that's powerful and it's true. And that's where we're always constantly working at and trying to get better. I'm gonna look at a few, man, some great questions in here on the Instagram, guys. I don't we're not probably not get to them. Actually, before I forget too, Ben, are you playing any live will you be playing any live tournaments coming up? Is there anything you're thinking about?
We'll
Or
see.
you're gonna play yeah, play it by ear? But you're not opposed to live tournaments. Just been busy in one of those things with travel and developing stuff. You just that's not like your main focus.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
I'll show up in one of the next tournaments that are coming up in the next couple of months.
Oh,
You don't know.
okay. All right. Fair enough.
Maybe I was sitting next to you. You
Yes,
never
I,
know.
I have a feeling that it's gonna happen. Well, and we did play in the Barcelona tournament together. We played in one sitting right next to each other. I remember on a day too. So yeah, it could happen again. I'm gonna take a few questions here before we let you run, and we'll definitely. I'm gonna pre-book you for a second podcast in the future. I got a
Sure.
long list. I'm excited about this. Again, first ever podcast. We got some kinks in the audio. We've had a few little distractions. Ben's also had his first ever
Yeah,
podcast, so I'm glad that we
that's
got
not
to.
my usual setup. I'm also here in Ulm, which is in Germany. I'm not in Vienna right now, so I'm just here with yeah, with a very not my standard
Not your
setup. So
main setup. All right. Well,
bear with
but
me.
next time around we'll have it all perfect. But this one, where again, like you said, I think it's important. I know a lot of people that they won't dive into something unless it's perfect, and it's similar like your course. You say you're constantly changing it. You got it out there. You had a basis, and then you went from there.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
if I was like, oh Ben, I need you to be in your studio. I want to have your perfect setup. If I need this, I need to test it. I want to do. It just you got go for it. I think that's one of the big things.
Yeah,
People just dive in, man. It's
just
okay.
start.
Start
Just
something.
start.
It's not going to be perfect. We're going to have some errors. We're going to have some lighting issues. We're going to have
Yeah,
audio issues. Like it's just how it is, and I'd rather do it than not. So,
and I'm ugly as shit anyway, so people probably don't want to see me in the studio anyway, right? So, uh, and by the way, that's also a good point. That just do it. And it's the same with if you see in our Discord the question of, oh, there's so much content. Where should I start? You just start. That's it. There's nothing, not a better advice you will find. Just start, and then the second advice I would give: structure it. Set yourself down, open a OneNote, or write it down in a journal or on a piece of paper. Structure your studying. For the first week, okay, I'm going to explicitly focus on proof of ranges. Then you study proof of ranges for a week. Then second week, third week, fourth week. The reason why you're so overwhelmed and confused is the lack of clarity. Try to give yourself more clarity. Try to evolve some study patterns. Try out different study methods, and just give it time. Just be patient. There's so much. It's a game of incomplete information. There will always be spots you have no idea how to play them. And even for me, there are spots where I'm like, oh, I really don't know what I'm supposed to do here in theory. And then I just try to apply my logic. And you can never study all spots at once. 2 days ago, we had a Discord as a student asking, hey guys, there's so much content, Raise Your Edge, and from other sites, and so many courses, so many videos, where should I start? I really feel overwhelmed. And I actually called this dude because he's also used to be a student of mine, because I didn't want to write a wall of text like, dude, chill, relax, just sit down, start, make a journal. And the third thing is to accept that there's so much shit. There's just so much content that you can't study it all at once. So when you study something, let's say for 7 days, you've maybe just covered 0.005% of everything that is out there. So then you understand the magnitude of all the content that is available. And then you might realize, okay, and something all the others have to deal with as well. They're not going to study faster than you. They're not machines. Just chill, just relax, but also be quick, don't be lazy. Study the stuff. Set yourself ambitious goals, but also reward yourselves.
Absolutely. So let's again, the Discord I just showed you guys, we'll put that in the show more below the video, as well as the Raise Your Edge. There are some discount codes with that we use for that for you guys. We'll have all of the social for Ben if you want to follow along with Raise Your Edge, and Ben will have his YouTube, Discord, all the good stuff in there. And then we actually, within our own Discord, we do have a Raise Your Edge folder, and there are some players and people that are part of our community here, so we'll be doing some stuff with them. But let's take a few questions here. We're already getting kind of towards the end here of everything. I know Ben's a busy day and you're on the European time, so let's try to rattle a couple of these fun ones off from my Instagram that people are asking. One of the questions: what do you think is better? This is from Anton Dragos. What do you think is better, play stacked medium stakes or play on your own low stakes and grow? I guess that's from for a tournament perspective theory.
Yeah. I always encourage people to try to play on their own, because it just teaches you more self-responsibility, more ownership, self-discipline. Because if you're in a stable, there will be a lot of stuff be like delivered on a silver plate. The schedule you have to play, the content you have to soak up, the bankroll, and you're not learning this kind of self-discipline. However, I think I'm also advising people to go to stable if it makes sense. Again, you have to decide it for yourself. Would you like to try to avoid risk? Are you more risk taker? And then there are definitely some stables I would highly recommend. If you're okay with it, I can name one or two that I think that are worth applying for. Is it okay?
What's that?
Jeff?
Yeah, I can hear you.
If I name just maybe for people if they don't know which stables to apply.
Yeah, sure.
But B staking is, for example, a stable I've now working together with for quite some time, and it's an incredible environment. I know the owners very well, Emirates, Pats, and European incredible tournament players are pulling off great results over the last couple of years, over and over again. I think they definitely belong to the best players in the world, and they have very professional attitudes, a very, very supportive environment, and you will definitely learn a lot. You will definitely learn a lot when you join their stable. However, I know it's really tough to get in their stable, but I think they're also going to open an academy soon, where they will also let in let's say, lower buy-in players, um, but their main stable it's really hard to get into. Or poker, I think it's a Brazilian stable, but also available for English-speaking people, players. So there are definitely a couple of stables I would recommend, and you're going to learn a ton. They really take care of yourself, and I think that's important. You want to end up in a stable where they take care of you, and they just don't see the money in you. They have this fire to make you better as a poker player, but also as a human being. That they're going to be there for you when things get really tough. But also they're going to kick you in the ass if you get fucking lazy, and that's also important. They're not okay with mediocrity, right? If you have bad results and you're putting in the work and they can see it, they're going to keep supporting you. But even if you have a good results and they see you're lazy and you're taking it easy, then they're definitely going to kick you in the ass. And I think that's important. However, if you try it on your own, you have to test it all for yourself. You have to create your own schedule. You have to decide which content, and you will get immediate feedback. If you're not putting in the work, you're going to have worse results, right? And that's what I love about poker so much. And I think it might teach you more and will be more beneficial for your overall self-growth. But if you want to join a stable, I think that's a good decision as well. You just need to figure it out for yourself. You really just need to figure it out for yourself.
Absolutely. All right, let's that's for sure valuable advice and makes a lot of sense. Let's take another one here. What is your favorite tournament format and why? That's from More Than Rain 4 on Instagram.
I like the fast structures, even though they're not the most profitable ones. But I just like turbo, hyper turbo tournaments. Um, I'm just used to a lot of all-ins from my sit and go background. I love short stack situations on final tables. I think it's still where people underestimate actually how much you can make with a short stack. In certain situations, sometimes you can't. That's okay, but sometimes you actually can. Um, but I also love the deeper structures, the main events, the when it's time to shine, the W Coupe main events, Scoop main events. These are definitely the tournament. Also the high rollers, they have really nice structures. 25Ks, 10Ks. I really enjoy playing these tournaments. It's just you learn so much. You play against the best players, and you can figure out what are the newest strategies, or because others are also working on the game, you can see what they're doing, and I just enjoy it a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what about your top three high roller live players? Alex Jula has asked, like, who do you? I guess maybe a little biased. You have a crew, and you're some obviously Fedor and Stefan. Some of those guys are clearly some of the best in the world, and your friends. But do you have are there guys? I guess maybe even take it further. Like this second, I guess Fedor's kind of jokingly retired. You see him pop in and out and not
Yeah.
playing as much. But who would you kind of list in the top? Doesn't have to be three. Some of the top players you feel in the game based on either that you've noticed or seen, or also maybe from your friends that are, without naming names, like have mentioned, oh, this guy's playing really well or tough and does a lot of work. Like, are there any guys out there who do you respect, I guess, the most?
Um, Definitely the B coaches around Pats, European, Emirates, Romeo Pro, Hear the Word, aka Julian Thomas, who's also a good friend of mine. Then Stefan, for sure. Then Thick One on Poker Stars, aka Class. He's an excellent player, a good friend of mine. Yeah, there are a couple of players I highly respect. There are probably a couple of more, but I just can't think of them right now. So, but these are definitely the pool of players I would consider as the top players in the world.
How do you feel like someone like that's the top versus like a world class, like a very very tough player? Like what do you think some of the biggest differences are that separate like someone like Stefan or Fedor from someone that's like a good player, but maybe that you just I don't know. Like what would be like like a characteristic that you would say that would separate like the elite?
Yeah. I think there's similar traits. Once you have reached the top level in poker, let's say you play mid stakes 100, 200, $500 tournaments, you have an incredible career, and you probably have unbelievable skills and an unbelievable mindset and a very strong attitude and love and passion to the game. However, one is missing, and I think this is the just trying to go for more. At some point, and I had a couple of students that are on this level, and they asked me, Ben, I I don't know if I should. And it's just they're scared. They're scared of making that step and eventually risking a lot of money. And a top player just takes the risk. He's going to jump into 100Ks, 50Ks, 25Ks. Of course, it goes hand in hand with staking, but I think if you have reached very good results on these stakes and you want to play the highest levels, you will get a staking if you have a good reputation. But I think a lot of players shy away. I know a few players that are extremely good, and I'm 100% sure they would belong to the best players in the world, but they just don't want to. They feel comfortable on playing mid stakes. That's what they want. And that's totally fine. Again, everyone needs to figure it out for themselves. But I believe there's still some sleeping giants playing mid stakes. And if they would try, they would have very good odds in becoming probably the best players in the world. But they just don't want to.
Yeah, and
that's totally okay.
And I think that's a great point. It holds true. It's similar to sports and some stuff. Some of it's luck, or like the timing or how it all works. But like you said, there's probably some guys playing the $500 daily on stars that would be crushing the 100K or 25K ARIA tournaments that just, haven't hopped in there for whatever reason, or just it doesn't make, So I think that's true. You got to kind of go for it. And I wanted to say, like with Ben and just others that I know that do Twitch and stuff, like I can't tell you how many people have messaged me and they say, hey, I want to start a Twitch channel. What do I need to do? Or how does this work? Like, I respect the hell out of the guys that are diving in there. Some of the people, as JJ Corrado, other people in here that start a Twitch channel, it's a little overwhelming. What mic do you get? What equipment do you get? The guys that just go live. Who cares if one person's there for the first 2 weeks and you lose everything, or you don't know what you're doing, or you're terrible and you don't know how to like do the hotkeys and the OBS, and it's stressful. But like, I remember my first one. I remember thinking like, man, this is gonna be weird. I'm gonna go online, no one's gonna be watching, and I'm gonna feel silly. But then I was just like, you know what? I don't care. I'm doing it for me. I want to record it. I want to build something. I want to have fun, and it just kind of happens. And then it doesn't matter, because if you do it for yourself, and other things are gonna follow, and it just like you gotta just go for it and do what you love and try some stuff. So dive in.
You know what? Actually, the other way, it's way harder.
Yeah.
I was there as well. When I was not so known, I was thinking maybe I'm going to record some videos, maybe I'm going to Twitch, but I wasn't doing it because I still wanted to play poker and I was building RaiseYourEdge. However, it was way tougher for me to start streaming because I knew everyone is watching, and I have no idea. I have no experience in streaming, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are going to watch, and everyone is going to see if I fuck it up or if I do a mistake. That was way harder for me. So actually, I would have preferred starting earlier when nobody would have watched the stream, and I could have gained some experience, get better, and then build my audience.
Exactly.
And I also, if someone is hesitating, I encourage them, hey, just go to someone's YouTube, a popular vlogger or poker player, and watch their first videos.
Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna feel okay.
Yeah,
you're gonna feel okay.
I would say I'll say just from my own YouTube channel, it's funny looking back. Like I could actually. We got to let you go here. I'm pretty soon. I'm gonna maybe do one more question, but we're at an hour and 45 minutes roughly. I'm gonna look for that real quick, and then why don't we do one more question? So you answer the favorite tournament format. Some of these are like poker questions. So and you answered this kind of earlier, but how many years have you been putting in real work to become a profitable poker player? Like, actually, let me just ask the version of that question. This is from Mr. PokerStar. Would you do something differently than when you started playing? I'm sure there wasn't this information. I remember in your first video, you mentioned, I wish this material was available when you started. But like when you started firing into poker, how much were you studying versus playing and learning? And I guess, how would you recommend to someone new now? I guess you would probably give different advice than when you did, because there wasn't as much material. It was a different time. But like, so both ways, were you studying to start like when you first started, or did you learn by trial? And what would you recommend to someone getting in right now? What would you say the ratio between studying, watching videos, and playing should be? Well, I guess that's a good way to do it.
It depends on your level. If you're really a beginner, I think 70%, 80% studying, 20% playing. And then the more you advance, the more you should shift towards playing. when I started, I basically just had access to charts. That's it. Static hand charts. And those charts said, I remember, probably even fold ace jack from under the gun. It's
Right.
so extremely tight. And then back then it was okay. You just play tight, and then you continued post. You just stayed patient. It was a very boring approach, but it was a very profitable approach. And then at some point when the games got tougher, you needed to learn when to bluff and blockers and so on and so forth. Yeah, and it took me around a year, I would say, until I was able to, or where I was consider myself as a profitable player to also make a living out of it. At least it was around a year, if not even longer, a year and a half.
Right. So yeah, guys, it doesn't happen overnight. And again, no, Ben and I are both not recommending go buy the Raise Your Edge course, quit your job, and go for it. Like all the power to you if that's like if you are able to have some financial freedom and do that. But again, make it a hobby that isn't a losing hobby, and build at it. If you're breaking even and you love the game and you have other income and other things, it's fun. You can definitely improve in poker a lot, and it's a timeless game. It's a game that people love. It's a social game. It's fun, and there's definitely a lot of skill to it. So I would say I'm just gonna real quick. I just want to show like looking at my stuff now, and then this is one of my first ever streams. Just like gonna scroll through. I mean, I'm looking back at my overlay. I remember I was in Uruguay. Like look at that logo. That was my original logo. Pretty, that was vague. Like and looking at like how my overlay was, the camera. I was there playing. It was just everything was different. Like it was like I literally didn't know what I was doing. I just like kind of went online. I had a deep run, but like looking now where I started and where it is now, it's kind of fun to see like the progression and just how it all goes. So like just remember like I'm like almost embarrassed by a lot of this and how it was and the quality of it or whatnot. But this was one of my first ever highlight or run stream that went deep and it was a blast. So I would just say again, dive in, do your thing, don't stress about it, and just make sure you don't do something. Be careful with what you're doing. Take it easy too. You don't need to play 8. If you're a 12 table grinder, play 1 table. Am I not even showing? I'm showing. I'm messing up even now. I'm not showing the stuff. I don't think I was on the right screen. But this was my first ever deep run, and it was like way different logo. You can see here way different, how it was all done. And just like dive in and take less tables. Like maybe you only play 2 tables and just really focus on the chat and take your time and dive in. So, I want to just encourage you guys to do that. And just the people that are messaging me or ask about Twitch and starting, it is fun. It is great. And if it turns into something that's big for you, that's great. And if not, you have it as like a journal, a diary later in your life. And it's a fun project. So I would just say, just dive in, go with your heart, do what you love, and I think we should probably close it down. Do you want to leave any kind of message or anything you wanted to touch on, or any other you guys? We talked about the course. You have a new course within Raise Your Edge, the mindset course coming. Maybe some live poker coming up. Is there anything else on? You just had a deep run in that 5K. I think it was like 2.7 million to first. You finished 23rd for 80 something thousand. That was yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yes, yesterday. Yeah, I had to play from hotel roof, which was pretty fun.
Did it finish out yesterday, or was there a?
Yeah, it finished out yesterday.
It finished out. Okay. And so do you know was there any Raise Your Edge members also deep in there?
Yeah, there was one of our students who finished 21st or 20th.
Wow. It's crazy, man. That is a crazy tournament. Another good sign for poker, records being broken. Biggest tournament prize pool ever online.
20 million.
20 plus. I think I got like 21.7. And obviously PokerStars doing the 25K PCA with 300 seats added. That's probably going to be one of the greatest tournaments of all time. I don't know how many over under on that. There'll be 6, 7, maybe 800. Who knows? There's a lot of people, but a lot of amateurs or non-regulars will be playing that 25K buy-in, which is cool. And yeah, I mean, again, guys, I have a lot to do. I have a lot to learn. Even when I do review videos with Ben, we go over my stuff, and there's spots where I'm like not sure about, or where I feel like I can learn. And I will say this right now. Mark my words, Ben. I am going to go through the course again, because I've done this, but like some of it I was not fully present for. I had it playing in the background. Like this is something before that January 6th. That's my Super Bowl of poker. 25K buy-in. It's going to be 4, 5, 6 million at first. Who knows? A lot. And I want to go through and brush up on this in the next the holiday weeks. I'm going to be here in the US. I won't be really streaming much, and I'm going to go back and look through this because some of this stuff has been updated as well from a year ago, like you mentioned, correct? Some of these some of these things. So it just can't hurt to go through it. And I would, again, I put my word, on it, guys. I tell you, it's an unbelievable course, Ben. You've created a masterpiece. Congratulations on all the work you've done and how much people you've helped and all the content and time you take for this. So again, congratulations, and I think we'll let you run, and we will do a 2.0 version in the future. We'll do this again. This was
with a better setup.
This is a blast, man. So thanks again. Enjoy some time. And guys, if you have questions for BenCB, you can get them on and Raise Your Edge. I mean, just rattle it down. We'll put it in the show more. So it's Discord. You have your YouTube. You have Twitch. You have Twitter, Instagram. I mean, those are 5 major things. I know you guys are content machines. Is that the best 5 places, or anything else I'm leaving out?
That's how you can reach out.
Raise your edge, baby. To the top, to the moon. We'll see you soon, Ben. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to figure out how to shut this down smoothly. I have no idea. First ever podcast in the books. BenCB from Raise Your Edge, the creator, founder, legend, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be in touch, Ben.
All right. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye. Have a good time.
All right. See you, Ben.
Ciao.
Bye. All right, guys, that's BenCB789. I had a blast doing the podcast. I must say everything wasn't super smooth with the left ear. I think there's some volume issue. I got this new mic, has it connected to a box. We're going to plug around, play with it. But just so you guys can know what to expect from this channel, take this down as pay our respects to Raise Your Edge. Yeah, as you can expect from my podcast channel, I'll tell you this. We're going to have a lot of interesting guests. I would say it's going to be 20-25% poker. All your favorite players will get on here. Don't worry about it. I've already reached out to many that have confirmed their attendance. I'll get on my website, Jeff Gross Poker. I think we'll add a podcast section. I'll have some a schedule. We'll have some confirmed guests. We'll have some targeted guests. We'll give you guys some content, but really a treat to have Ben kick it off for us. Again, I look up to him a lot. I respect his work ethic. I respect his program and just his way of being, and he's a great person. I met him. I can tell instantly how much I really did admire him and what he does and how he is. And he's a private guy, but he's putting out some great stuff. I'll try to take a couple questions in here. I see Mark Millard in here. What's up, man? Highlight Hub TV in the building. Ghost of N dropping it in. Vadran helping through the kinks here. Jay Carves, yeah, we'll get Carver, all the boys. You'll see them. If you guys have a request, let me know. You can tweet at me who you want to see. Tag them in there as well. But I've already knocked off a bunch of people that are non-poker that I think are just super fascinating. What they do at the top of their industries, CEOs from doing their own business, creative industry stuff. I mean, the list is going to be. I get excited just thinking about it. The fun thing about a podcast is we can knock out a few in a day. Even I'm here. I have a baby on the way. My loving, beautiful wife Amelia, who is just unbelievably supportive and caring, is it's gonna be great because I can do it from here. So I have my office in Miami, but I have it in the home. We're at my house, and I will be doing podcasts from here. So it's great when the baby comes. I can kind of do a little, but then I don't have to leave. I can be around. I can even hold it. Baby as a baby, they can be. They're not moving fast or anything. So it's not like people say about the Flow Show, like, oh, Jeff Gross he's gonna have a son and he's gonna be like, if anything, I might even be able to, with the podcast, with some other training, some video stuff here, maybe even be more active than before with doing this now, which I wish we had started before, but now we got it. So I'll take a few questions, guys. Vadran's in here. We're gonna get this uploaded. We will get it on iTunes, Apple, all that stuff. We're figuring out the whole podcast format. Elliot Rowe giving us some tips. We'll have him on the show as well in the future. I don't even want to go into the guest list now because it's pretty exciting and just start rattling off names. But anyone you guys think that you might see on the show, you can just pretty much count that in plus more. So we're going to look at that. We got some water coming in here from that shit. She's just right here. Wifey in the house. Amelia, guys, she says hello to everybody. She's in there saying hi. She's over there, and we're excited about the baby boy coming. It's really a treat. And we're gonna wind down the show. We are gonna do the $100. Let me see. Should I do this now? I guess I could do this now. Let me just see if we're here. Was I on the wrong? Let me see. Can I go to the competition agency, Vadran? Should we do this now? I guess we should, right? Since we're live here, let me just see if we should do this right now. I got 95 people still on, which is pretty incredible. How did you like it? Give me some feedback other than like even the audio. Was it unbearable with the left ear? Let's go here. Let's do these 2 retweets so we're live on the air and we can just knock it down. Tweet draw. I got to get running, but Raise Your Edge. Can't hold the bait. Don't trust you. Uh-oh, come on, man. Booyah, what up, Brendan McInnes? Let's get these tweets out. Let's get this Twitter out. So this was from, this is from today. Copy link. We'll put that here. We're going to do that right now. I'll give you guys 2 seconds to get over there. Even though it's okay. It's still energy. We're still trying to get you guys. I invite you to hit the subscribe button on our podcast. It looks like we're up to 216 and it's free, and we will turn the notifications on so you know when we're live. I think we'll do a mixture of live and we'll do a mixture of live podcasts like that, and then we'll have some that are pre-recorded and we'll throw up. It just depends on the person's preference. I kind of like doing it live. I don't want to think we're ignoring you if we don't answer the question. It's more, I want to do my own kind of preset questions. We only have so much time. We'll do some Instagram where you guys can go and plug them in there. We did answer some questions from the chat as well. But this is cool. This is fun. It's for me. I love it. And there'll be a lot more of this. That was our original run there. So, all right, let's do this 20. We got the 100 ball here as well from you guys. I don't know how many podcasts do giveaways, but we're definitely, we're not your average. It's the Flow Show. We give stuff away. Pick the random tweet right here. $20 coming to somebody. And let's send them a message. Alexis does follow us, and so we can DM him and he can win. And we'll do the $100 one as well. And then I got to buzz out of here, guys. So we got a busy day. I'm flying to LA tomorrow. It's Antonio's 40th birthday. I'll be at the WPT. We got a new vlog from the cage in Costa Rica coming up. We got highlight videos from our latest Twitch. If you guys don't know, again, my Twitch is jeffgrosspoker.tv. You can go here, add me, turn on notifications, and you can go back to previous videos as well. Even from Costa Rica, we had some. We'll probably put a rerun. We had a bunch of streams from there. But so there's $20 there. We did that. And then we're going to plug in this. Let's see if anyone else will give them a chance to get in. 190, a few people sneaking in late, and that's okay. It's still energy. People let them know that we have a podcast started. So we'll go ahead and plug this here. This will be for the 100. I'm going to take a look over here. How is the volume? Is it just the left one? All right, guys, let's do this real quick. We're going to roll it, and then we're going to run out. So here it is. So this is for the $100 retweet right here. 190, you guys. So, all right, let's do it. We're going to roll in 3, 2, 1 for 100 large cash. Oh, man, not on the page. See, look at that. Not on the page. So this is this tweet, Jeff Gross Poker. I just copied the link and putting it here. Let me just show you guys since I was on the wrong page. Okay, so this is for 100. We did the 20. Pace. We're going to roll in 3, 2, 1. $100 coming in cash, guys. Thanks for being here. Vadron in the house. Hey, Jeff, will this pod be on Spotify? I want to listen on the drive home. We got to have Vadron figure it out. Ghost of M's going to help us as well. We're going to try to figure out how to do it all. That's for $100 right here. Spring Poker one. $100, man. He does follow us. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. That's awesome. You got a 100 ball coming your way. It is 3:30, and I think I'm going to hit stop streaming. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to say thank you guys one more time. Raise Your Edge info if you guys want to buy the course. We do have a discount code on my website, jeffgrosspoker.com/affiliation. It's there. You can buy it, and they have another course coming as well. So again, thanks to Ben. Thanks for the time. Thanks to everyone for watching, and we will be on our way, guys. Thank you, and please leave me feedback in below the video, what you liked, you didn't like, any issues you had. This was, again, the first ever podcast, so it's truly a pleasure. I'm very grateful for you guys tuning in, and I can't wait to make this a portfolio. Who knows how many we're going to do. We'll see how much you guys like it, how much time that we get how many guests come in, and we'll try to keep it going. We're just under 2 hours total time, and seriously, so much thanks, so much joy doing this. It was fun, and Ben is a legend. In his first ever podcast, we got to have him as our podcast and his first ever podcast, so that was really special. So thanks to Ben and Raise Your Edge for all their help, and we'll see you very soon. Peace.